Hey folks, and welcome to Solarcabin channel. Got something kind of fun I want to show you today. I made a trip into the city. I'm here at my Lowe store, and one thing a lot of people have contacted me about is telling me that they just don't have the time or they don't have the construction skills to build their own cabins. So what I've suggested to people is that they consider getting a pre-built shed to start your cabins with. So I'm showing you a couple of sheds, and they've got a whole row here that I'm going to show you of different varieties, different styles of sheds that can be easily converted into a cabin, off-grid or even grid-tied if you want. So these cabins come in many different styles, as you can see. They also come in different sizes. Now these are just the smaller ones. This is a 10-foot by 16-foot. They also have a 12-foot by 16-foot or a 12-foot by 20-foot. These have gambrel roofs on them, which is a barn-style roof on these, and they are generally built very well. They're constructed just the same way that you construct a house in most cases, okay? But you do want to look for some features, and that's what we're going to talk about. And then at the end of this video, I want you to stay tuned because I'm going to give you a free SketchUp of an interior model design for one of these cabins to show you how they could be made livable. And then I will also have available an ebook with the plans and even a framing plan if you want to build your own. So stay tuned to the end of the video to get that information. So let's take a look at some of the features that are in these sheds that make them so that they can be converted into a cabin. Okay, so you can see that Lowe's and Home Depot, they carry a lot of varieties and sizes of sheds. Everything from these smaller 8x8 and 8x10 sheds, which are probably too small to be a house, but are good for storage, on up to these 10x16s, 12x16s, and that big one down there on the end I'm going to show you is a 16x20. So let's talk about some of the features of these. First, most of these use a hardboard siding, which is really good. It's also used on a lot of modern houses. You can get an idea of the siding here. It's good hardboard siding. It's not the most expensive product, okay? But it takes paint. As you can see, it takes paint really well. Looks really nice. You can paint it up in any variety of color that you want. They usually do come with the trim boards. As you can see, they have some trim boards all the way around them. They come with a different variety of roof styles. Now, this is a gambrel or a barn roof style, which is what I would recommend, and I'll tell you why. Because with a barn roof style, you're going to get a lot more headroom for putting in a loft, and that's how we maximize the space. So I'm going to show you this one here. This one is actually set up as a garage, but that doesn't matter. You can get these in different door styles if you want. You just have to go online and choose the features that you want. But this one comes with a garage door here. Now, this one is a 10x16 foot. Coming on the inside here, let the camera adjust to the light. You can see that it has a loft already set in it. Now these have 7-foot sidewalls, okay? 7-foot sidewalls, and then your loft sits right below that. So your loft is approximately 6 foot 8 inches, which you can see I'm standing underneath it, and I'm about 5'8", and I've got at least a good foot of headroom up above me in the loft here. Now that's important because in order to increase the space in these sheds, you're going to want to make a loft. And you can do a full loft or a half loft. They've just got a small loft that's about 4 feet wide, maybe not even that much. But you can extend that loft out in these cabins clear across. You can go clear across with a loft and then just have an access door like I have in my cabin with a ladder. That doubles the amount of space. Now, because of the pitch and peak on these roofs, they don't have a whole lot of headroom. You're probably not going to be able to stand up fully in that loft. If you do get a custom built shed like this, ask them to put on a higher peak. You want at least 6 feet. I prefer 7 feet of headroom in my loft. That way an adult can actually stand up inside the loft. That's what I have in my cabin. But if you buy one of these pre-mades, then you're probably going to be using the loft for kids' bedrooms or something like that, and so you don't need quite as much headroom. Now these are designed and built the same way they build modern houses, but some different features here. One, these are put on 24-inch centers. You can see the studs are placed on 24-inch centers. Now don't let that worry you. That will hold all the weight for a small structure like this just fine with a 2x4 on 24-inch centers. Okay? And it allows you to put more insulation between these walls. In a 24-inch stud spacing like this, you can get more insulation into those walls, so you have a better insulated house. Now, you will notice that they do not put any type of Tyvek or weather barrier underneath the sheathing, which you would normally have in a house. And it's something that I really do recommend. However, if you want to, you could pull the sheathing off, put Tyvek underneath that if you wanted to. Normally in a house what you'd have is a sub-sheathing, and then you would have vinyl siding or something like that over it. However, if it is sealed tightly, you really don't need the Tyvek. As long as the outside boards are sealed very tightly, which I recommend you go around any shed or house with a good tube of caulk, and you seal any places, the corners, underneath any stripping, anything like that. And I would seal the heck out of this. You can see where there's small gaps around the ceiling. That would all be sealed up if I was using this for a house, probably with expanding foam before I put the insulation in. And then I would caulk all of these floorboards down here. Now, this is only a 10 by 16, but I could even make this into a reasonable size house, cabin, okay? A 12 by 16 gives you a little bit more room, of course. In even larger sizes, then you're going to have more room. But you can see that you could easily put a bathroom underneath this loft. You could have a very nice bathroom in there. Right against that wall, I would put a kitchen, okay? And then over here on this side, plenty of room for a couch, living area. And then on the opposite side over here, you've got a room for a desk, and even a little fireplace or something like that in this little 10 by 16 cabin. And then a loft, I would go a half loft over here, over to about right there, and I would turn that into a bedroom, okay? And that would be the bedroom. And that's, for a couple of people, that's really all you need. And you would have a large, 8-foot or even 10-foot bedroom up there. If you wanted to do a full loft, then you've got a 10 by 16-foot bedroom and office upstairs, which is really nice. So that's some of the features that you want to look for on a well-built cabin. You can see they do come with just a single pane glass window up there, so you would need to put in your windows, so you're going to need to figure out that. You should use double pane windows at least, and I recommend Lowe glass windows for your cabins. It does have a vent up there, no window on that end, okay? These are generally built as low-cost sheds. You can get them a lot fancier. You can get them that have windows and are built more like a house already, but then you're going to spend some more money. Now these will run you, a 10 by 16, probably going to run you around $3,000. Excuse me, yeah, probably around $3,000 for one of these. And they do deliver them in most cases. In some places they'll deliver them for free within a certain mileage of your house. So that is one opportunity here. Now they also sell these 10 by 12s that have a standard constructed roof on them. Now you can see the difference in here with the roof style. With this type of roof style, you don't have near as much headroom for a loft. So you're losing a whole lot of space if you go with a traditional style roof over a barn style roof in these small pre-built sheds. So that's why I really recommend, unless you really don't want to use a loft for any reason, and you're getting a bigger one of these, that you go with the gambrel roof instead of the standard constructed roof. Here's another example. This is also a 10 by 16. This one has double barn doors. You could take those barn doors off and put 2 sliding glass doors in there, which would be a really nice feature. Now, you got to consider that these look like sheds now, but once you add a front porch onto them, they no longer look like a shed. You can add windows here on the front of both sides of the doors. You can add windows on the side of them. You can paint them so that they look like a house instead of a barn. Or if you like the barn look, like, you can go for that. Now these run for $34.99, okay? Or excuse me, $24.99. That's a good price, okay? For a 10 by 16 Heartland, that's $24.99. Now again, these have 7-foot sidewalls. And you can see it's got a real nice loft up there. Same basic design as that other one I looked at, 24-inch centers. Double door that could easily be replaced with sliding glass doors would look really nice up there. Little window up top. Add some more windows for light in here. Extend the loft over at least halfway or all the way across. You got plenty of room up there for a nice bedroom and office upstairs. Now, underneath these are designed to be set right on the ground or on a cement pad. So what you're going to see underneath them is they've got these skids, and they just all have the same basic skids underneath them. They got 3 skids. I don't recommend that you put a house right on the ground. For one thing, you might need to be able to get underneath there to do plumbing. You also want to be able to insulate the bottom, otherwise you're going to have a cold floor. So what I would do is I'd raise this up at least 18 inches is recommended. I'd raise this up either on piers. You can do cement poured piers and raise it up just using those skids. You put the piers underneath the skids. Then I would skirt this with foam board insulation all the way around the sides. I would skirt it with foam board insulation, and over that I would either use the aluminum trailer skirting, or you could use plywood or even wafer board, but you want to skirt it and seal the bottom really good. That way you don't have to insulate the floor itself. Instead, what you're doing is you're creating dead air space insulation underneath the house. So that's how modern houses are done nowadays. They don't insulate the floors. Instead, they insulate the skirting, the sheathing, so that works fine. So you can get an idea of the size here. This is a pretty good size here. And could easily be converted into a cabin. And for, $24.99, figure $3,000 for a 12 by 16, you're looking at pretty good. Now this is their kind of their premium model here. This is a 16 by 20, and it runs, a 16 by 20 runs you, it looks like about $5,599 there. $5,599 for a 16 by 20. This has traditional roof on it, okay? Double doors that could be replaced, and because you can see this is very big. This is a big size shed, but it's still available here, and it looks very much like most modular homes are built this exact same way, okay? Hardly any difference at all in a modular home and one of these. Again, they're on skids, so you'd have to put some piers underneath this, cement piers, or a footer wall would be recommended for this size structure. Inside, you can get an idea of the space. Hopefully, here you can see, because of the span, they went and put these additional brace boards in, but I can tell you now those brace boards are not needed, and I would take them out because they're reducing your headroom in this. Okay, this one actually has enough headroom in the loft for a person to stand up in pretty much, if you remove those brace boards. And because these, if you look, they are a solid beam rafter. They have solid rafters. So I think those boards are probably mostly there as for transportation. I think you could easily remove them. Once it's transported to your lot, you could remove those because structurally they're not really doing anything to help with the structure, because as you can see there's already a cripple up there at the top of each of the rafters. You can see in there, right there, you can see there's already a cripple in there to go across that is already supporting the structure. So these others, I really don't know why they put them in there except for transportation probably. I would take those out. That would give you almost, if you drop this, it looks like they've got this down to probably about 7 feet to the top. They've also used 2x6s in their rafters, where I would probably go with just, well, that span you probably need 2x6s. This is a big span I have to remember we're looking at. So this is 16 feet across. Okay, so that's a huge room. You could actually put a full-size bedroom, master bedroom, and master bath down here. Large kitchen, nice area for a living area. And then upstairs you could have, if you just put a half loft, I would probably go up a little bit higher with a half loft. Now these have 8-foot sidewalls. I need to point that out too. This one here has a full 8-foot sidewall. So if you dropped your loft down to 7 feet and only went halfway over, then you would have almost 6 feet up to your peak, it looks like, and that would be a nice second bedroom for kids or something like that, or storage or whatever you want to do. You could also go all the way over with a loft on one of these. But because this uses 2x6 floor joists, it might make your headroom just a little bit narrow. But remember that the loft usually goes over a bathroom and the kitchen. You don't spend a lot of time in your bathrooms and kitchens, generally. So it doesn't matter if the headroom in there is a little bit low, because you're not going to be spending a lot of time out there. Where you want your high headroom is over your living area, over your bedroom, if possible. You want a little bit higher headroom, but you don't need that over a kitchen or over a bathroom. So that's generally where the loft is placed. Okay, so those are some ideas, and not too expensive. Now, if you was to price out the material to build one of these, it would probably be a lot less, honestly. If you have the time and the construction skills to build one and can just buy the materials, you could build one like this for probably about a half or maybe 3/4 of the price of what you're going to pay for one pre-built. But not everybody has the time or the skills to build one themselves. So come and look at these. Check with your local shed builders, check with your Lowe's, check with your Home Depot, find out what the prices are on these. Now, you can't construct these everywhere, okay? In some places you can get them as an ancillary building if there's already a house on the property, or if you have property where there are no real building codes for the house, then you can use one of these as your cabins to get you started. Then all you would need to do is add your insulation on the inside, put in your windows, put in your interior features, your sheathing and stuff like that. Take care of the foundation, put it up about 18 inches, put it on some piers, and you're basically ready to go. So these are a good option for people that don't want to build their own. Maybe you don't have the time or the construction skills, and you just want to start with something and then do the interior work, or have someone else do the interior work and finish it off for you. These are a good option, so consider that. Now, I'm going to show you a SketchUp file of one of these cabins. I'm going to do a 12x16 barn style cabin. That will allow you to see how the interior can be finished. So I'm going to show you a SketchUp of a 12x16 barn style and how I would do the interior. That will give you some ideas, and I will make that SketchUp available. That way, if you want to modify it, you can go download it. Using SketchUp, you can modify it to any way you want because there's a lot of different ways that you can do the interior on these cabins. So come on along now, and I'll show you how I would do a 12x16 barn style shed to turn it into an off-grid, very nice cabin. Don't tell me how to think, don't tell me how to talk, don't lay your trip on me, 'cause you don't walk my walk. I am my own man. There ain't no one else like me. I am my own man. And I live as I please. You want a fancy house, driving a fancy car, just another foolish puppet. I know who you are, but I am my own man. There ain't no one else like me. I am my own man, and I live as I please. You are just a symptom of a world that's gone awry, thinking you must fit into this world to survive.